Hi there, my name is Ben and I'm going to show you around my field. This is my first video ever, so I'm pretty excited to tell you what I'm doing here, what it's all about, and how you can get involved if you want to help. I've always been a very passionate person about, I've always had a passion, I guess I should say, about climate change and helping make a difference in the world. So I started this company, Carb Seq, carbsec.com for those who are interested, about 4 years ago now. And basically the goal of the company, the whole purpose of it, is to help slow climate change, help remove CO2 from the air and permanently lock it away underground. So I've looked at a bunch of different techniques over time. I looked at direct air capture, other types of things, but I just think that for me in my area, which is Michigan, that this is the most cost-effective, simple, easiest way to start. So I'm gonna take you on my journey starting today. I mean, obviously it's already been going for a while, but starting at least on the video today, and show you how things are going, where we're at, and where we hope to be in the future. So stick around and I hope you enjoy. As I said, we are hoping to remove, be part of the removal of CO2 from the atmosphere. And how you may guess that we are going to do that by looking at this field is that we are going to use plants, use like a natural solution to help fight climate change. Specifically, Miscanthus Giganteus is the crop that we're growing, and biochar is how we are going to do it. So what you see here is the remains of the field that we planted last year. So one of the things about Miscanthus Giganteus itself is that it takes approximately 3 growing seasons to get a full harvest in. So it's not the most quick solution, but it is very cost effective, which when you are looking at removing, many tons of CO2 from the atmosphere is very important. So I'm just walking you through my field. Today is April 26th, so the start of spring here in Michigan. Obviously there is some greening of the grass starting to come up, and what I brought you here today to look at is to see if the grass itself has started to sprout. So obviously you can see these up to 3-4 foot high stems that are left over from last year. So what I did is I planted, and you can see here like on the rows, basically I got 1,000 rhizomes, which are like pieces of root from a company online, and I borrowed a tree planter, and I was able to use that tree planter to plant the 1,000 rhizomes that you see here on this approximate quarter acre, as I said, in approximately 3 foot spacing. So 3 feet between each rhizome in a row, and then also ideally 3 feet apart between the rows, but it's not always exact science here. But this is my first attempt, so we are basically learning together a little bit about this. So as I said, we're looking for to see if there are any sprouted crops or any sprouted rhizomes, and you can see here that we have some. So these are the sprouts coming up this year. So what I did is I planted each of these stems that you see here was 1 rhizome last year that I planted, and then it grew into 1 or a few stems. You can come over here and see that some of these have multiple stems in them. So this is like, a good 3 stems right there. But in general, you get a handful of stems, like 1 to 3 in your first year, and then this is the second year, obviously. So we already see that some of these have more than a couple stems coming up, and in year 3, so next year, we will get up to hopefully like 30 to 40 stems potentially coming up in each of these positions. Ben here again. So obviously I've shown you a little bit of my grass, and the question is, what am I going to do with it? Like how are we going to permanently lock away carbon using this grass, which obviously if you just leave it on the ground, as you know, it will decay over time and make methane, which is actually much worse than CO2 over various time horizons. So what we plan to do, so this year, as I said, these are the first year stems in the ground right now. So what we are going to do is we are going to let them grow this year, and then after they, once fall hits, they will suck all of the nutrients back down into their roots, and then they will leave the stems up for us, and I'm going to take those stems, I'm going to harvest them, I'm going to densify them because they're pretty bulky. Like if you think about a bale of hay, for instance, a bale of hay is quite large, not super dense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those stems, I'm going to densify them, first by grinding them up nice and finely, and then making pellets out of them. So those pellets are a lot more dense than the grass itself. So that allows us to use take up a lot less space, basically. And then once I have the pellets, I'm going to turn them into biochar, which is basically just charcoal made from natural sources, which I guess all of it is, but we are going to turn this Miscanthus here into charcoal and use that biochar to help improve soil, to do a number of other things, but most importantly to permanently sequester CO2 from the atmosphere and prevent it from being re-emitted. So that's the plan, and that will be included in many of the videos that I'm going to show you over this summer and fall and winter. So I'm going to take you on a little bit of another tour around the field. So the field, it's kind of hard to see currently, but is in the shape of an L. And what we are going to do on this little tour is we are going to see which of our stems has the biggest shoots so far, see how many shoots are coming up from each of these guys, and hopefully find one that has the most. So we are looking through our stems here to see what we can see. There also is, just so you guys are aware, this other grass that came in from the side, but that shouldn't interfere too much with our process. And you know, all biomass is good biomass, basically. So we're just looking to see how many stems we can find in our field. But what's really exciting about this is, if you don't know about Miscanthus giganteus in general, why I chose that is that it's very efficient at, you know, needing like low amounts of nutrients, and it comes up every year. So you only have to plant it one time. As I said, I used the rhizomes initially to plant them, but we're hoping that because, you know, the goal here is not to end up on a 1/4 acre and just do, you know, 1 or 2 tons a year. The goal is to, you know, get as large as possible, obviously, and make the biggest positive impact that we can. So this, you know, 1/4 acre lot, we are going to try looking at some other propagation techniques this year, and we are going to hopefully in the next year or two purchase a 5 acre approximately lot, and then have a 5 acre lot, and then keep scaling up and keep growing to ultimately remove a lot of carbon from the air, because 1 or 2 tons is not that much carbon in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, I think the average human emits something like 10 tons a year approximately, and the world in general emits something like 30 billion tons. So the scale of carbon removal that the world needs is actually, you know, quite high. I mean, as much as we can possibly get, basically. Not that we shouldn't also be reducing, you know, the amount that we emit, obviously, but what I can control here in my little section of the world is how much, you know, is to help remove at least a little bit. So here's a good one. You can see you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or more stems coming up from that one. A little hard to see with all the other grass out here, but what this should look like in a, you know, month or two perhaps will be knee high, and then at the end of the year, as you can see, some of these are, you know, 5 or more feet tall. This grass will end up being at least hopefully 10 feet tall this year, to make us some nice stems that we can turn into pellets and then turn into charcoal. back to the face again. Okay, now that I've shown you around a little bit, I'm going to tell you about what the approximate plan is for the year. So obviously this is, my field will continue to grow as it, has started to sprout, and as the weather gets warmer, it will continue to grow. A couple of the things that I am going to attempt this year will be to, one, look at some other propagation techniques. So I'm going to, as I said earlier, this was all propagated by rhizomes, so like the root pieces under the ground, which are how it is typically propagated, but that is a bit of a hassle as you have to dig them up, divide them, all of that kind of stuff. So what I'm hoping to do this year is to look at some other propagation techniques. So I'm going to dig up some rhizomes, show you how that goes, show you how laborious that is, as well as what I'm going to do after some of the stems have grown is to take some of the stems, cut them up, and then you can actually plant the stems in the ground, theoretically at least. We're going to test that and see how that works. And then also I'm going to take some of these stem cuttings, I'm going to root them in some water first, and then plant those. And we are going to test rhizomes versus stem cuttings versus rooted stem cuttings and see how well those propagate, so that next year when I'm hopefully planting several acres of this, it'll be easier to do. So that'll be a lot of videos to come. Also, we are going to do this year, since we will have a harvest this year, I obviously left all of the stems in the ground last year, but this year I will get a harvest, not a full harvest, but a smaller size harvest. I'm going to take those. Obviously, as I said, I'm going to make them into wood pellets, or I'm going to pelletize them, and then I'm going to turn that into charcoal for the whole process, basically. So you will see videos around that, as well as the propagation, as I said, and anything else that I think is useful for you guys to see about carbon capture. So lots of stuff to come. It's very exciting, and I'm glad that I can share it with you. So hi there. One more thing I'm going to let you guys know. So obviously I'm not a professional YouTuber. This is my first YouTube video ever, so that's pretty exciting. But there are going to be some kinks. There's going to be some issues and stuff like that. So just I'm sharing my experience with you, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. I hope you find something interesting out of it, and I hope that you let me know what you do like and don't like, and we can hopefully make this the best channel that we can. So I appreciate any feedback, any comments you have, and I look forward to interacting with you.